Welcome to Prince Shortened House, exercise number 45, legal real judgments, 100 words a minute. Ready? Start. The phrase comprises every fact which, if traverse, the plaintiff must prove in order to obtain judgment. Cause of action, as understood in civil proceedings, means every fact which, if traversed, would be necessary for the plaintiff to prove in order to support his right to a judgment of the court. It is the bundle of facts which, taken with the law applicable to them, gives the plaintiff a right to relief against the defendant. Each and every fact pleaded in the writ petition does not ipso facto lead to the conclusion that those facts give rise to a cause of action within the court's territorial jurisdiction unless those facts pleaded are such which have a nexus that is involved in the case. Facts which have no bearing on the dispute involved in the case do not give rise to a cause of action so as to confer territorial jurisdiction on the court concerned. Thus, from the aforesaid case law, it is apparent that while considering the expression cause of action, the court ought to look at the factual situation that gives rise to an foreseeable claim, taking into consideration the averments made in the plaint, which, when read collectively, constitute a bundle of facts that form the basis of institution of the present suit by the plaintiff. After going through the plaint in view of the settled law in this regard, I do not think it prudent to entertain at this stage of the proceedings the contentions of the defendants relating to enforceability of the agreement dated 12th March 2008 and other objections raised at the time of hearing have to be considered at the time when the main injunction application and application for vacation of injunction. The arguments vis-a-vis the under-registered and unstamped status of the agreement have no force at this stage of matter when the court is dealing with the court while considering the present application can determine the validity of the document. Further, the document has been relied upon the relief of specific performance, which is not the only relief prayed for. There are other reliefs which are sought by the plaintiff in the main suit. Therefore, it is wrong to allege by the defendants that the plaint disclose no cause of action. Now, I shall discuss the second contention of the defendants that the suit filed by the plaintiff is not maintainable and no order of an anti-suit injunction can be passed as the defendants have the right of filing a suit or a proceeding in the courts at the foreign courts if their rights are being impinged or violated. Various decisions have been referred during the hearing of the case. The landmark judgment laying down the principles which are to be taken into consideration by a court at the time of passing an anti-suit injunction and the principles laid down are reproduced. In a case where more forums than one are available, the court, in exercise of its discretion, to grant anti-suit injunction will examine as to which is the appropriate forum having regard to the convenience of the parties and may grant anti-suit injunction in regard to proceedings which are oppressive or in a forum non-convenient. Where jurisdiction of a court is invoked on the basis of jurisdiction clause in a contract, the recitals therein in regard to exclusive or non-exclusive jurisdiction of the court of choice of the parties are not determinative but are relevant factors, and when a question arises as to the nature of jurisdiction agreed to between the parties, the court has to decide the same on a true interpretation of the contract on the facts and in the circumstances of each case. Stop.